Hiya. Happy Friday. Lovely sunny day, nice and not warm, but a bit different. A bit warmer than it was anyway. But yeah, nice and sunny. No snow today. No hail. No wind. But we're doing good. Painting in the style of. I get a lot of people saying they like doing this. Just to see how famous artists as this guy is, Lucian Freud, used to paint or give them an idea. But if you check his work, I've not put a link to his website or anything, but you can check the work. There's excuse me. There's a lot of stuff out there, and his style changed quite a bit over the years. So you can see how his earlier kind of figurative work changed. He was mainly figurative painter. It changed over the years. You know, he's a bit of a strange person apparently, as they all kind of were in friends at that time, Francis Bacon and all those. So yeah, he hung about with kind of really arty type of people. I don't think like that up here. We're more kind of get on with it type of people. Anyway, yeah, Lucian Freud, and this is a portrait of his self-portrait, which is I like it actually. I love the style he has, the thick paint and the oil, which you can only get with this using thick oil technique. His palette was very, very muted. I can't find a lot of information about what he used. I know his whites were kind of the main. I think he stopped making it now. One of his whites, and flake white and something like that. And he, I forget the name of the other one. And he had to buy them, but he didn't want to have a very strong titanium white. You see, so it's like a mixing white. But they did away with it for some reason because it was alpha, or was it zinc white? I don't know. Anyway, so his palette's kind of, yeah, weird. We don't ever use black. I think he may have done, yeah, but I'm not going to use it today. I'm just sticking to my own palette and see if I can represent these tones, these coloured tones, using his a similar kind of palette, but mainly earth pigments I think he used, because a lot of burnt siennas, burnt umber, for instance, but it looks like I know it's a print, so I'm not sure the original's different than that colour wise, so you know, it might be a lot different. He used a lot of yellow ochre, and I don't possess any yellow ochre, so I'm going to have to try and make one, you know, a bit of sienna and blue and yellow, knock it back a bit. So everything you can knock back. You've got cools in there, cool tones, which are kind of these greyish purples, you know. The background actually looks quite alizarini and bluey, yeah, with white, so it's a purple tone. So yeah, we can see what we can do. It doesn't really matter. It's your interpretation of his painting, yeah. Although we know how he starts. He does a lot of sketches, and we know he sketches in charcoal. So I should have told you that actually. We needed charcoal as well. I'm sure you'll have some handy, yeah. So you want to stick a charcoal just to sketch. I'm going to sketch the head. I don't think he fixed it. Doesn't really matter, because we can paint over it. So that charcoal in there, and we're going to do the head. Not actually a clue how he did them. Just kind of look for tonal values. A lot of kind of really quick marks to get things down. Yeah, and then it's mainly looking at. It kind of starts as a big tone and then starts looking for smaller tones in between. So it looks like he's used a big brush here just to slap in these big areas, and then he started going smaller with the highlights on the head and things like that. Okay. So yeah. Anyway, we can see we can do something similar. So there's my palette, because I am using cerulean blue here because I think there might be some cerulean in there. But it's mainly burnt siennas mixed with blue. So that burnt sienna and blue will give you burnt umber. Okay? So you don't actually need a tube of that because you can make it. Burnt sienna blue and alizarin gives lovely kind of purpley kind of warm and cool tones. So, you know, I've got a really good scope there. It's like watercolours. Ultramarine, alizarin, burnt sienna give you really dark tones, but they also give you cool tones with these alizarin and blue, and then they give you a warmer tone of a dark by adding burnt sienna, you see. And then the cerulean blue is just a different blue, kind of lighter, more of a warmer blue, which is mixed with white. And again, you can mix it with burnt sienna and you get greys, you get these kind of grey tones, so that's why I put that there. We're going to quite a bit of white and a touch of yellow, so just to see if I can make a yellow ochre kind of colour. Well, I know I can, but it's kind of muted yellow. It's very just warm, just slightly warm. Anyway, that's my palette, that's what we're going to use. If I need any more, I should get some out. Got some tissue, brushes. I've got all my old brushes. So I got the hog hair and bristle. There's a lot of flat ones he uses, these filberts and flats, you know. Let's do broad strokes. Quite quick marks. He did spend a lot of time thinking, looking at something and thinking about it, then get up and do a mark and then sit down again. You know, but we've not time to do that, so we'll be thinking as we're working. So there you go. But yeah, you can pick ideas up from looking at his work, and hopefully we can do something similar. I'm not going to say we're not going to get a likeness. We don't want a likeness, but if we can get a likeness, that'd be good because it would look like him. So, but it's not kind of a necessity. Actually, I think one of his eyes is wrong, but don't tell him. That's a necessity, so we can look at that first. And because it's oil paint, we're usually working from dark to light. So we can block in some of the darker tones first, which I presume is what he's done, yeah, the way he worked, because he wouldn't have completed this in one session, I'm sure. There have been a few sessions allowing the paint to dry in between. So when the paint dries, he goes over with thicker pigment then and brush marks and stuff like that. Because if you get to a point where you start adding thick paint and your dirt's so thick and you're trying to put thick, lighter, warmer paint over the top of thick underpaint, and it won't stick, it'll just slide and glide off and you'll end up not being able to leave the paint behind, if you know what I mean. So we have to start quite thin. So I'm looking at using the darker tones first in his features and his neck, and then adding the warmer tones and other tones within the darks. Okay, well, first thing we're going to do is sketch it out. So I'm not bothered if it takes a little bit longer, this one, over time, but no, we haven't going for some dinner, but I'm not that bothered. So, because we'll do it like he did it. Look at this. I mean, he just kind of sketched the head, and then he's got an angle like this, and then he's got his eyes in the middle position. He's probably just blocked the eyes in like that, and put some hair on his head, you know, like this as a shape. Put the ears in, I don't know. The nose position usually halfway, you know, and then the mouth usually halfway, something like that. We've got creases in his face, you know, bottom lip's got a shadow, the jaw's got a shadow, then we've got this lovely angle of the jaw. You know, this is what using charcoal does. It gives you that lovely you know, marks and tonal values, so you don't have to keep messing about looking at things. We've already got them in. So we've got the shape of his head, and then kind of peak like that. I'm going to paint around that later, and then down the side. So you've got the cheekbones, which are quite dark as well, and then we've got his neck, which comes from his ear, like this. Goes into the neck and the shoulder, like that. And then on this side, it's quite a steep angle That's quite a thick neck because the shadow's coming from here and it's going off the picture. So you've got the neck there and then the shoulders come from it. The shoulders actually go off the picture like that. It does look a bit long in one shoulder, and then we've got the shape and the shape of the neck. So under there is his Adam's apple and his tendons in his neck. I'm just trying to leave the light tones. Okay, and the shape of things, that's about it. Now we can leave that and just paint over it, hopefully. Nice shadow there. The philtrum, don't make him look like Hitler. Nostrils, the shadows, the mouth as it comes to the side and then kind of droops down a little bit. That concentration on his face. The eyes, kind of a central position, glaring at you, and then not too much detail. Just the eyebrows, the shape of the shadows in his nose, all sorts of things, creases in his forehead. I've not a clue. I have a clue. We're just doing it like that. And the background will change and we can paint around it. Okay, so I'm not using any kind of, what was I going to say, blendy tools today. It's mainly one thick brush with a bit of alizarin and a bit of sienna. So I want to add a bit of terps to this, so it's burnt sienna, ultramarine, okay, and turpentine. Alright, so we had quite a bit of this, so if I look at the darker shapes and the features and his hair and whatever, like this, and we can just blot these in. And then so I'm using the brush. A lot of blue will make it nice and cool, like I said, but we don't want the coolness, we don't want it to run actually. So we want these dark shapes, kind of under the nose, shadows in his face, like the bits I've already put in, can you see? So we've got these really nice strong areas. So because I've got sienna in there as well, we're getting brown tones. That goes around that eye. The eye is in shadow, yeah, like that. As is this one. So we've got that shape. We can use a little bit of sienna mixed with that to warm it up as well, like that. And then down the side of the cheek, inside that nose, and the bridge of the nose, the side of the nostril goes into that shape, the middle of the mouth gives us that shape, the bottom lip and his chin. Okay, as we get under the neck, we kind of go a little bit more purple, so we've got more alizarin and blue, but keeping terps mixed with it. Okay, so we've got these shadowy bits like that, alizarin and blue, coming down here, and then in the shoulder, on the side of his neck where the jaw is, like that, and then this side, around the shoulder blade, whereas it goes a little bit darker there, yeah. We can add a bit more blue to that, give us more of a purple tone. Okay, not used any white yet, I just want to block in a lot of the tonal values. So again, we've got this lovely kind of shadow just under this ear, going into his neck and the side of his face. So it's not blue shadows on fellas, that's okay. Don't put blue shadows on ladies because we don't want them to look like they've got a beard, do we? So we've got the shadows in. It's quite thin. This ear is in shadow, but I'm just going to block it in. Same with this ear. So this is just burnt sienna really. And then we've got some of this grey stone. So I'm going to mix a bit of cerulean blue with some burnt sienna, just see what turns up. Because I've got some lovely shadowy tones. Within, it's like the hair, I've got this shadow around his head. That's just hitting that hair, so this is just a little bit of blue and grey, bluey grey, more blue to it you know, the lighter. I'll try the other blue. I'm not too sure about it actually. He's got quite a bit down the side of his face there, which is quite a nice contrast. Keeping it this greyish tone, yeah, and the underpainting, if you like, just going into little bits of his features like that. Dip your brush, get some burnt sienna. I'm going to mix a bit of white with that as well, and then add some grey, add some of that blue tone to it. Okay, because here we've got this kind of shadowish, we've got a lovely line there on his neck. Can you see what happens? So this is the shape of the light just hitting the neck. We'll have a bit more red alizarin in the light, because alizarin puts it in shadow, you see, so we've got the underside of that neck coming across like that. Using your brush as stabbing implement, you know, just put it on there, try and get reflected lights. So this is the only bit of white I've actually used at the moment. There are other ways of doing this. You could use the cloth to kind of rub. He hasn't done this though, but you could rub out the highlights like that, so you can make a darker tone. You see, and where it is darker now, you can add that darker colour, kind of the top of his arm and things. The top of his shoulder there, it's very dark, isn't it? And then that comes around like that. And it goes in there, can you see? So we are copying, but we're copying with intent. Okay, so I'm looking at his face now, and I'm looking at all these other things going on. And then middle tone values, which are this kind of greyish tone in his features, which has got white with it. So I'm mixing the white with the sienna, and then adding a touch of blue, just to kind of knock it back. Yes, I think the other blue, I put a bit of sienna with it. I'll have a bit of water, a bit of turps with this, don't use water, whatever you. So we've got this kind of shapes within his head. So this is the cooler, warmer shapes, can you see? It's kind of these, just these little angles and tonal values that give you the mid-tone value, really, in the features. So we're going warmer from that, you see. So it doesn't really matter if you're wrong, because you know we can warm things up a bit as it starts to dry. We can add thicker paint, hopefully. This is the idea, so we're keeping it nice and light, yeah. Kind of in the nose, like that, and the nostril, something like that. We could put the light bit in there later, and the side of his face, you've got some alizarin there. Try and keep some colours now slightly separated, so we can put some quite a nice lot of alizarin tones, which are the cooler tones, like we said, in the features. Down the side of his jaw, whatever. It's a really nice way. And I'm going to use the same kind of thing on his shoulders. Sorry, brain's not working. Like this. I'm going to use one brush at the moment, yeah. I'm just looking at the lights and the warms in his neck. So a bit more white, touch of yellow and white with sienna-y colours, because we want this to warm up like that. So this needs to be kind of warmer tone, and we can mix alizarin with that, so we get this lovely shape of his collarbone like that with the darks. A little bit thicker pigment. We've got a nice light there. This goes behind him So again, his shoulders are more of an alizarin-ish tone first, and then we're going lighter, you see. So that's what I'm after. Kind of a warm, shadowy colour, lighter shadowy colour. Getting rid of the white paper as well. I have gone over his eye. I have gone round his eyes, can you see? But I am going to kind of slightly go back into those in a bit. Doing a bit of detail, so you get a smaller brush, don't you? Stand back. It looks very, very scary. I've not touched the background yet. Just have a look at the background, should we? Got a smaller brush. I'll use some blue and alizarin. Quite a bit of turps again. With white. You can keep some of this separate if you wanted to. So we can get this, because if we look around this ear, got this lovely kind of purple tone, you see, so we can put that in, so it's doing his jaw, and then it's doing his neck, so it's got this, and he's got his lovely brush marks, picking out these shapes as you go down to the shoulders, okay. We can add more white to that. And the colours mixed together slightly. And we go darker, yeah. So again, we need thicker tones. I don't think he bothered too much about, colours blending into one another, going into one another. This is more of an alizarin and sienna tone, which is the alizarin and the blue, yeah, which gives me a kind of darker. It's darker tone like that, which is more cooler. We want it in the background, don't we? So we've got this lovely bluish purple. Probably nothing like the colours he used, but going around his head and his hair like that. This is a big negative space around the back of his head as well. Kind of work. It will kind of work. Using a bit of blue as well, and the sienna. So we got this. Looks like he's dragged that actually. You can see the marks of his a big brush underneath. You know, like he's done. Something like this. Get a big brush with a bit of blue and the alizarin. Like that. We've got something like that. It's all the way down picture. Yeah. You can see, can't you? As he got here, he's gone the opposite way with it. So that's more of a kind of a alizarin-ish tone. Again, that's quite a bit of touch with it, so it's going to disappear slowly. Put some over there as well. A bit of white, touch of blue. Just give me that opaqueness we need. Not so dark. So we're getting these shapes, you can see the brush marks there. So then we get these lovely dark tones at the back. So again, bigger tones, deeper colour, sorry. And then we're going this way. Kind of a more kind of alizarin. We can go across the top of his head. Crop his hair, blend it into this side, quite a nice dark shape there, so and then blend it. So we have them in the way, and then we go white, you see, so we start going bluer, bluer there is the word. And we can see it over this side really. You see that ultramarine blue mixed with it. This is not as bad over here, this is more alizarin. Smells very, very turpentine, you know. Smells like a proper artist studio. More white. Believe it or not, I've used most of my white up. You do put it out in blobs because I don't want it to all disappear in one go. Another thing people do is go too white too soon, you know. It's gone back. Too white too soon. And we can start adding some of the warmer, very warm tones actually, with a smaller brush. So we've got more kind of detail. What I will do actually first, sorry, I'm going to mix some blue, ultramarine and a bit of sienna to give it a strong dark. I'm going to put in these really strong dark shapes that I can see, especially kind of where the eye is as well. So block the eye in so he's looking at you, put it right in the middle, okay, and the eyelid, the eyebrow, whatever, the shape of his hair. That's a lovely negative which is up here like that. So this is why sometimes I'm wondering if it's used black, because it goes quite dark in that area, doesn't it? Then we get this lovely tone at the back, and it's also coming down the side of his ear. I could paint around that later, and the side of that ear. Stand back. Yep. So we've got the eye position, top eyelid and the bottom eyelid, which I usually tell people not to put in, but on this occasion, put it in. He's looking at me. He's looking at me. So I'll use a bit more blue and alizarin and black, not black, blue and alizarin. Looking at the shapes within the face, some of these shadowy bits like that, bottom of the mouth, bottom lip actually, side of this, that side of his mouth, the way kind of lip turns inside just under the jawline, the way it curves in here like that. Again we can, you know, add other colours as you're working along, because when you look at this it's a bit cooler in there, where it disappears into chest. His chest area, this is warmer, so we can leave that because you've got a warm tone. So it's burnt sienna mainly and white, yeah. You could have these kind of separate. This is the kind of white we need to get to now. Just do a tester. Do a test area and then you can see what the contrast is going to be like when you start to put in these stronger light tones. Can you see what I mean? So this is just mainly white, and it's also burnt sienna. So this is that's kind of circular shape on his, and there's a bit of a shape there as well. So it's putting them in quite quick. Yeah. Use some alizarin as well, just put a cooler tone in. Nice. You can see his old kind of style of painting there, because if you look at his older work, you get these squirrely bits of things. Okay, so if I was doing a pure white shape there, it's actually here. Okay, so lots of white. You can see how thick that is now, and it's at the top of his shoulder, so this is where the highlights are catching some of his skin tones and whatever. And as you look in here, we've got a shape there which is the light catching, just a bit of that shoulder blade. Sorry, can't get my words out. And so I'm trying to think and talk at the same time. It's not easy. And the kind of reflected lights you get, like I said, in the shoulder, side of the neck, things like that. Yeah. So over here we're doing the same thing, but we're going lighter. So just looking at that shoulder, it's worked quite well. You can just use burnt sienna and white. You can add a touch of yellow to it if you want. So from here we've got this really lovely strong light. It comes down the side of his neck. So these tones, he's got a line there as well. These tones are changing, you see. They're just going a little bit cooler as well. You can have a mix them. So they're just going down the side of the neck and going into blue shapes, lazarina shapes. So we've got this lovely kind of shape there, like this. Something down here as well. And it's like veins in the neck. And then a cooler tone going down here, like that. And then we're going a lot warmer. Okay. Cool tones within the neck. Okay, and we're doing the same thing with the face. Add a bit of yellow, not too much because we don't want it to be too strong. Then we're working our way up to pure white, you see. So here we've got lovely lines that are going to fill up these gaps in his neck and whatever. A bit more sienna. You can have darker tones as well that are going to blend in, kind of these light ones. Coming across, lighter. Keep your brush clean if you can, and then it's coming down here, and then we're going that way, and then we're going in here like that. These are the creases. His forehead. Again, we need to have stronger kind of shadowy bits. If you look, because we've got a crease, and as you're coming down here, we've got this line. So I put this line in, and it's going into his eyebrow as well. It's coming this way. Again, clean brush, lots of white, thicker pigment now, hardly any tips. And this is what we need to kind of put these. It's like painting. It's like painting a jigsaw. Actually, keep the colours warm. Keep the thickness of your paint. Squint. Look for shapes, and just add shapes. Yeah, reflected lights, things under the eyelid like that, and the shape of something, like the side of his nose. Like that. Yeah, okay. And when you look at the nose, it's got pure white more or less on the bridge. Okay, so you can add that and you can add that. And then looking down the nose, it goes sienna. So we've got more of a sienna colour, which is down there. It goes warmer. It goes warmer there, can you see? It goes warmer here, and then down here, and then it goes into it is bottom eyelid, which comes up the other side like that, and then you get a lovely kind of block of tone here, which has got a light spot in it, because that is the kind of highlight on there at the top. Yeah? This is the shape of the eyelid, the top eyelid, which goes into this line at the top of his eye, and then down here like So these white shapes now, these kind of little shapes are going to bring him to life, I think. I'm thinking this is, he probably worked a lot slower than this at time. We've got a beautiful highlight in here, on top of his eye. Again, more white, touch of yellow. I want to bring out these little shapes now. So if I look here and really strong around this crease in his forehead. These are kind of things that make it look like him. Okay, so as you can see, that's going that way, and then we've got something going that way around his eyelid, and it's coming this way. So we've got this lovely kind of highlight, bit of white. You can either mix it on the palette or you can mix it by hand. This is beautiful because it's very white. I mean, that's a bit I've not touched yet. It's kind of slightly alizarin there, and then it goes cold. It goes cooler, sorry. I'll get some light on that side. So a bit more, bit of sienna, just here, and down the side of his forehead. Yeah, like that. This is quite cool as well. Looking at the blues, purples, which is that lovely purplish shape. Okay, it's really good fun. And then we're looking at the light hitting his cheek, the warmer tones as well, the lighter warmer tones. That's sienna. Okay. Side of the cheek, side of the mouth, and then we're going inside that bottom eyelid, the side of his nose there. Got a shape, which is quite a flat tone then, as it goes into the cheek. Okay, big shape. A crease around the eye, little white blobs on his cheek. Something like that. A little bit of light there, a little bit of light on his eyelid. You can see the half moons of his eyes. So I'm just using a little bit of blue and white. Something like that. Not a lot. It's got a red eye there, but we'll put blue in. And then same on that side. So here's actually looking. I'll put a bit more blue there, the side of his face. So that's where you'll have the the shaven look. So it would be a bit blue. Just mixing a bit of tone to get around this cheek. I know it blends in, but I just want the shape of that. Looks like a friend of mine actually. What's the brush? I have tended to use this little brush. So that's a sign that these marks are quite light, quite small. So I've got some cool here, which I go into the bottom of his nose there, because we can see reflected light, like that. We also get into the philtrum bit, and that's the shape then that comes down to the mouth, you know. I'm always going on about that when we do portraits. And then we get a shape over here that is in shadow, like that. And then this side is going to be a lot warmer. Again, we've got a lot of, add a bit of yellow to it. This represents a kind of yellow ochre, I presume. So as we come from here, lots of white, okay. So we've got this kind of thing, and a bit of white there. A bit of white there, sorry. There's a bit on his nose. Okay. When this comes down from this eye, so we've got this really strong white that goes into the shape under his cheek, and then we've got a nice flat shape there on that cheek. That's white as well. Okay, this is a bit it's kind of a burnt umberish tone just on that cheek. It's not as dark as that. And that's giving this lovely sure, yeah. If you put the darks in, you can always go over later with the strong, with a lighter tone if it's too dark. Yeah. Inside that eye, so we want some alizarin and white inside the shadows of his eye. So we've got this alizarin coming in like that, which goes right into the corner of his eye. Okay. We've got the same thing happening over this side as well. Thinner brush, thinner marks. That's a thicker mark. The nostril. So we're looking at, so put that in, a bit of red and blue. So it's got this lovely dark nostril. I've got one here. Shape it. Okay. That's too dark, like I've just been saying. So we warm that up. I don't warm it up, cool it up. We make a reflected light just in there, in the centre, which is a little bit darker. So it's kind of blue and ultramarine. That comes down to top lip. Okay, and then the crease on his mouth, side of his mouth, and the way that changes as it gets down here, bottom lip, again a bit of alizarin on that, a bit of sienna, quite a bit of white, bottom lip, and we can see a reflection on his top lip, actually, just seeing that. Put it on, take it off, and then we've got the bottom lip catching a lot of light in the corner as well, and that comes across to here and down the side of the mouth, and that's where you're getting reflections and these shapes, and there, that's a nice dark shadow. This is this shape on the mouth, it goes into the chin and it comes down something like that. Okay, what time is it? Badger time. Connect. Put this on YouTube. Everybody seems to like painting the style of on there because they've been looking at what they've been looking at. The Scottish artist I put on. I forgot his name. Jack Vittoriano. Jack Vittoriano. Alright, there is a lovely light here, there, and then down the side there. Little things like that. This is where we start to make it more obvious. Light on his cheek, white, this shape under the cheek, which is about here. Can you see this thing? So it's that lovely big flat shape there, and which goes into the jaw. You're always better not thinking that's the jaw, that's this. Just think that's that shape, that's that shape, and that shape, it's that shape. Yeah. It's all about shapes. So if I put the sienna in, a bit of dark, bit of blue, sorry. Because in this area you've got this lovely kind of dark tone on his ear. You can see the shape of his ear as well. And then we've got a lighter tone which is a bit reflected sienna. So we mix some white with that. So we've got the light catching the top of his ear, like that. And then down the side, the cartilage in the ear, round the back. That little pip in the corner, and then this one goes down to the earlobe. Okay, might be a bit high that actually, so I'll have to paint that out after. You paint the background, paint that out. Got you. Like that. So it's too high. So his ear comes lower than that, because it's kind of, it's on level here, really. So it wants to be like that. Okay. So I'll make that a little bit lower. Still a bit high, but it doesn't matter. Same over this side. Doesn't matter. I think it's one of them things people wouldn't notice. Somebody's going to say his ear's too high. Top of his ear, the side, the inside. So this is white and sienna. Again, the eye, the inside. It's lovely light, and then the shape here on that ear, and then you get this lovely kind of shape on that ear, which has got a little bit of sienna underneath it. So it goes a bit warmer, you can see, just where that is. And then we've got this background shape. I'll use a round brush. That's a lovely background purple shape. We'll use that just to pick out this negative. See, that's actually, the background is actually dried off because it's all the terps. So I want to pick the ear out and I want to go lighter in the background. Put some white right on the edge, and then this is going, because it's very warm in here now. Doesn't look like him. But I've had good fun doing it. Get some grey. So I want this lovely kind of grey. It looks like he's done something like that to the top of his head. You see? See, you got this leather hairstyle. It's kind of a coarse bush, bristles. And it's just quite a bit of white and a bit of purple. Eyes coming that way as well. Then we're getting it down here and in there and inside of his ear, inside of his forehead. It's the kind of cooler shape. Just blocking little things in there, like that. This wants to go warmer, bit sienna. Just in here, that's it. And this wants to go warmer, because it's reflected. It's light under the chin. And then we've got a lovely block of tone on his chin. We'll just pick out this alizarin shape. You can actually see it on the picture. This is grey underneath, so it's a bit of blue mixed with it. Then we get white again. I'm going out to white again. Lots of white. Need some more. Need quite a bit of white. Warm in here. Stand back. Sun's still shining. It looks like a pugilist on the picture. In fact, this eye looks like it should be lower. Anyway, not to bother, not to worry. I've only got an hour. What do you want to talk? So we've got this beautiful kind of shape on the shoulder, and then it comes into here, down that arm, slightly, a bit more weight, from his neck, something like that, that's wrong, that's right, blob, and then a blob, and then that goes this way, and then you can see the tendons in his neck, there, 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 and then we get this really strong weight, scenery weight, so right down here, so we've got that lovely shape there, and then here we've got this tendon that comes off the picture. You can more or less see where lighter tones need to be now. It becomes easier because it puts everything in a perspective, doesn't it? Side of his neck. That's sienna again. So we can put this on his bottom of his chin, like that, which does need to go later than that. Like that. Should be a nice dark, get a small brush a bit of round brush. Nice dark, but sienna blue and mezzarine. So again, just looking at this eye, we'll take it down a bit. And the side of it, it's quite, it looks a bit mad on my picture. I've got that lovely light catching. Just getting rid of stand out. That's eye. His hair. You haven't got a one-hour brush. I don't possess a one-hour brush, so what can I use? I'm going to use a bit of, just use this one, I haven't got a point on it. We can see the thickness of his eyelid. Then, and the lights on his half moon there. We've also got the thickness of his eyelid there. Yeah, it's amazing really. All these lovely marks make up features. Alright, some lights in here. Big brush. Once I got rid of the white paper, I'm quite happy. Big brush, get some darks up. Like that. Corner. Like that. You can actually see his bottom eyelid too. I think that's what's missing is, oops. I'm not bothered about carpet. It's a studio. So here big blob of white, more or less. Top of that chin. That's how it goes like that. That goes there. And this goes here. Down there. And on the front of the nose, which is here, that's sienna. We've got two little blobs, that's there, there. White bits, just use up my paint actually. Inside, forehead. Here. Yeah, so we've got that really nice strong light on that here. And okay, and then I used some of the cerulean blue and quite a bit of white and purple. To give us that. It actually looks like he's picked out that, isn't it? That shape and gone that way. Then it's kind of two-coated his bottom here. The side of his head, and it's just gone like that, just to bring out that ear, yeah. Which is what we had a bit of a problem with earlier because I got it in the wrong place. Alright. That tonight. Big blue shape, nice one, lots of texture. All going to his face. Not him, but nice little light on the end of his face. On the end of his lips, sorry. Yeah. Don't know what colour his eyes were actually. Yeah. Any roads up. That's the idea. Painting in the style of. Okay. Finish off a few things. I'm just seeing these squirrely things. Have a look at his older work, that's what I was saying. You can see these kind of squirrely shapes that he's got. Which position things. It's like the cool tones of shadows hitting his skin, yeah? Some lovely shapes there actually. And that's pure white, but I'm going to leave that actually now. Alright, I've enjoyed that. I have. A bit more dark in, I'll just use my darks up. Bit dark. Just under this ear, if I can get that there, the shadow on the neck. Okay, and inside there, that's a nice dark. In the corner of the eye, it's actually quite sharp shape that. And it's a little bit cooler. And that's it, really. That's our lesson in painting in the style of bony parts. Collarbone. Okay. Cool tones. Where my bits. It's actually slightly darker. I know I'm in your way, sorry. That's slightly darker there. Brings out that shoulder, you see. And the back of his neck. Probably going off the picture there, actually. Blurred it. Okay. I'm going to leave it now. I've enjoyed that. Sometimes it's very nice to just let go and have a go at something completely different to what you do every day. So just take the tape off. It's not him, but people will know it's him because they know it's his portrait. Not far off. I could get certain things right, I think. It's that shape of his mouth there, I've just noticed actually. Oh, here we go, fiddling. A bit of blue, back. Bit of fiddling, bit of blue. And some sienna. Bit of brown. Lovely darks. Ultramarine blue, sorry. And then, look at the picture as I took it off and where I put it. We got this kind of shape there. And then, as we're coming down here, it goes all the way down to chin. That mark. So that's quite dark. That's quite a dark shape there. Going down. And then under the middle muscle in the mouth. And the other side, there goes the corner of the mouth, and then you get another dark. Okay, it's not bad. I'm not squeezing any more paint. That's it. These cutters are very similar to my haircuts. Alright, there we go. Stop. Stop dead, never go again. Go let it bed. Little smell all day. And then use my clamps. Reach, you know. And get rid of my paint. The only thing I've got left really, I put a lot of sienna out, so I've not used a lot of it. I've quite a bit left. Okay. So the palette, I don't know, quite similar to what I've used. So that'll start a lot of chatting. Thank you for watching, and see you next week. Have a nice weekend. Oh, can't do Tuesdays next week, so I'm going to have to do Wednesday mornings because I've got a 4-week class starting Tuesday, as well as my morning one. Okay, so I'll put stuff online. Bye for now.